Guys, I gave you brief instructions before. We're boxing for the New York State cruiserweight title. Obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up. Good luck.
So here we go for the New York State cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor versus Patrick Nwamu. Fighting out of the Bronx. Nwamu 9-1. His only loss coming in 2001 against Russell Shiflett, losing on points in a 4-round bout. Since then, he's won 8 in a row. Round 1 scheduled for 10.
First thing I want to see is how Hino reacts. He has a new trainer since his last bout in Norman Lord down in Star City. So I'd like to see what adjustments he made.
Nwamu, a southpaw, and punch and pack comes in. Looks a little heavier than we've seen him in the past.
Well, he probably figured he need to bring a couple more pounds into Ehino, because Hino's known to be a big puncher. Could be a psychological factor.
Nwamu coming in at 199. Ehikhamenor at a solid 194. And we talk about how awkward Pat Nwamu is. Steve, how does Ehikhamenor, 11-0, combat the awkwardness of Pat Nwamu?
Well, if he gets close, he can bang the body, and that awkwardness will disappear. But mostly you just want to stay consistent with good technique, and the awkwardness of your opponent will work against him.
Look at the age difference. Ehikhamenor 24, Nwamu 32. How do you normally want to fight a southpaw?
Well, you want to.
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry, Steve. You want to move close. You know, work the jab. A lot of people don't believe in working the jab on the southpaw. Work the jab. Throw the right hand. The right hand will be there all day on the southpaw. And finish up with the left hook. You just have to keep them boxed in, just like that, with no left hook.
Left hook gets in. Nwamu keeping that right hand down toward his waist. Ehikhamenor has been criticized in the past for not establishing his jab. This will be the perfect opportunity for Hino to get in using that jab against the awkward Nwamu.
Well, believe it or not, both these guys are pretty similar, even inside the ring. Hino averages 54 punches a round each fight, whereas Punch and Pat brings 47 punches a round. So both these guys are pretty even with the output.
Hino making the jump from 6-rounders to 10-rounders. That's a big jump.
Nice body shot by Punch and Pat.
Once you get out, guys, free him up.
So you wonder, will the work rate be a little slower for Hino because he's thinking about having to go 10 on a hot night here?
That's why I brought that up.
Yep.
Ehikhamenor coming off a unanimous decision against John Douglas. Going 6 rounds.
And Hino is allowing Punch and Pat to dictate this. Punch and Pat is sort of BSing his way through. Maybe the southpaw stance is confusing.
And again, maybe Hino a little more concerned with pace than he should be. But you're right, he's not initiating much right now.
Only the first round scheduled for 10 for the New York State cruiserweight title.
Once you get out, guys, let's go. Once you get out. Come on, free him up. Free him up.
Round 2 scheduled for 10 for the New York State cruiserweight title. Gus Johnson, Brian Adams, Steve Farhood here. Nwamu in the first round landed 7 of 26 jabs. Ehikhamenor 0 of 11 jabs. So Ehikhamenor did not land a jab in the first round. As you take a look at the punches in round 1, Nwamu throwing 40, landing 8. Ehikhamenor's throwing 23, landing 6. Ehikhamenor has to get a little busier as this fight progresses. There's that stiff jab by Nwamu, punching from his hip, or jabbing from his hip.
Well, awkward position, because you never really see that coming up. But Pat looks very comfortable. Early in his fight, second round, he looks very comfortable in there.
Brian, you think Hino should be pressing more, going forward more?
He needs to be moving forward more. He needs to be throwing more punches. As long as you stand in front of a guy and do nothing, the guy's going to punch.
Ehikhamenor, though, not schooled against lefties. So southpaws could be a very confusing situation for him.
And that's what you don't want to do. Hino's trying to counterpunch the southpaw. That's what you want to lead. You want to make the southpaw make mistakes. You don't want to try to counterpunch the southpaw, especially a defensive southpaw like punching Pat.
Left hook gets in for Ehikhamenor.
Free him up, guys. Come on, free him up on your own. On your own. Free him up, Pat.
Punching Pat looks very confident.
Yeah, he does. He is awkward, you know. He doesn't really fight textbook at all.
He don't give you much to hit, but that's why you have to create openings. You can't try to wait for him to make a mistake. You have to create openings.
And the best way to create openings against a southpaw, if you do want to throw that right hand, is to use your left hand to the body and to the head, and it will open up a pathway for the right hand to go straight down the pipe.
Punching it out, guys.
I think the reason Punching Pat is controlling the pace of this fight is he's either been way outside or smothering Hino. But he's very rarely been in range to get hit. That's why he's not getting hit much.
Nwamu's so relaxed, standing in the center of the ring, just waiting for Ehikhamenor.
I mean, I wonder if these guys ever sparred together, because Pat looks like he know what to expect.
Very uneventful second round for both fighters.
Seconds down, Vito. Seconds down, no. Come on now. Let's go, seconds.
Round 3 scheduled for 10 for the New York State Cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in the black and red, Punching Pat Nwamu in the white and blue. Gentlemen, how do you have this fight scored so far?
First round, I thought clearly went to Punching Pat. Second round was close. I have it 1-1.
Well, I scored on both rounds for Punching Pat. I thought he just did more. He controlled the pace in the second round, so I gave it to Punching Pat.
Punches thrown in round 2. Ehikhamenor throwing 32, landing 9. Nwamu, not very much of a difference. Both fighters tentative to start.
I'm quite sure Punching Pat is perfectly fine with this pace. He knows the one that needs to change the pace.
Now Ehikhamenor starting to move in.
I don't understand why Punching Pat
Bring him up, guys.
turned orthodox. He's doing fine by me on southpaw.
Well, he wants to keep young Ehinomen Ehikhamenor totally confused.
And now Hino turns southpaw, right?
Come on,
Go
guys.
figure.
Bring him up, bring him up. Even. Punch, no punching. Bring him up, guys. Come on.
I don't recall Hino fighting left-handed too often in the past here on Broadway Boxing.
Nice body shot by Ehikhamenor.
You know, there's a long way to go in this fight, obviously, being a 10-rounder, but I'm a little disappointed in Hino's efforts so far. I want to see him force the pace a little more. If he thinks that he's a future cruiserweight contender, and he's not that far from it, he's got to go out and get this guy. Maybe not get rid of him, but get him. And he's not doing that.
No, I agree.
He's doing nothing to show that he's the classier fighter.
And the jab is still missing for Ehikhamenor. Nice uppercut thrown by Nwamu. Sends Ehikhamenor back to the ropes.
Yeah, what Nwamu just did with that left hand is what Hino should be doing with his right hand. The best weapon against the southpaw is the right hand, whether it follows the jab or not. And he's not letting it go. He's not throwing enough right hand leads.
See, in my opinion, that's a problem with throwing him in with a southpaw with a new trainer. He never got a chance to be comfortable fighting a southpaw with one style.
Good point.
Up, Hino.
Round 4 scheduled for 10 for the New York State Cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in black, punching Patrick Nwamu in white. And through 3 rounds, Ehinomen Ehikhamenor only threw 28 punches in the last round, landing 6. Nwamu 35, landing 8. Total punches through 3.
Well, it's a pretty low amount, 26-20. For 3 rounds, that's very low. That's single-digit average per round.
There's a body shot getting in. Nwamu tries to flurry, and Ehikhamenor ties him up.
You know, former middleweight champion Vito Antuofermo is in punching Pat's corner, and boy, if anybody knows how effective southpaws can be, it's Vito. He fought Marvin Hagler twice. He fought Alan Minter. Those were 2 very tough southpaws that he lost to. So he knows, and he used to, I remember him years ago telling me, the way to fight a southpaw, Brian, you kind of alluded to this, get inside against them, because then they're not southpaws anymore.
Punching Pat looked just so comfortable and confident.
It's not that he's doing that much. You can see he's waiting a lot himself, but he's doing a little more than he knows.
He's controlling the pace. And speaking from experience, once you're in there, after about 4 or 5 rounds, if you're going at this pace where you're unsure, the rest of the fight you're going to be unsure.
You remember your first southpaw opponent, Brian?
My first 6 opponents were southpaw.
No.
My first 6 opponents in the pro were southpaw.
Who was your manager, the Marquis de Sade, or what? 6 southpaws in a row, and when you fought a righty, you didn't know what to do, right?
Right. Well, my last year in the amateurs, when I won the U.S. Championships, I fought 3 southpaws to win a title.
Wow.
There's a good left hook by Ehikhamenor. And that illustrates what we've talked about before. If you use the left hand against the southpaw, you have a better chance of success.
But Hino's throwing 1 punch, 2 punches at a time. You need to put them together.
Hino's being a little more aggressive. Not much more aggressive, but a little more aggressive this round. And only time will tell whether he's been quiet so far because of the sense of pace and he was worried about going 10, or whether he's just confused against the lefty.
Once you get out, guys, let's work it, work it.
17 seconds to go in the 4th. All right, round number 5 scheduled for 10 for the New York State Cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in black, Pat Nwamu in white. And gentlemen, how do you have this fight scored so far?
Well, I have it 2-2, Gus, and something tells me Brian's going to disagree, but neither guy has done a lot, and you really have to almost start counting individual shots to determine who wins the round.
Well, I scored it, 3 rounds for punching Pat and 1 round even, having 40-37.
Nwamu now changing to orthodox. As you take a look at the punches in the 4th round, Nwamu throwing 33, landing 7. Ehikhamenor only landing 8 punches, but Ehikhamenor has to put more pressure on Pat Nwamu. Keep that left foot outside of Pat Nwamu's right foot and put pressure on him by working stuff inside. And he hasn't done that. That'll set up the right hand.
You're right. The more punches he put together, the more opportunities he has. Because as Steve alluded to in a replay there, punching Pat, he makes mistakes. He pulled back. He slips 1 punch, but he pulls way back. So if you come back with 3 and 4, you're going to hit him.
You mean he pulls straight back?
Pulls straight back with his hands down.
But Ehikhamenor has not made the commitment to fighting an aggressive fight. There's a beautiful straight right hand getting through for Ehikhamenor.
Still too much waiting for Hino.
Guys, let's go. Bring him up, Hino. Bring him up.
I'm sorry. What Hino needs to do here, step inside the feet of Punch and Pat. Most people say the outside, the southpaw. But right now, Punch and Pat is orthodox, so it doesn't matter. But once he turns southpaw, step on the inside, not outside, because Punch and Pat is pulling back. So you're gonna step on the inside, move forward, and throw punches. He stay on the outside of Punch and Pat, right foot. Punch and Pat can slip those wide shots. So you have to step on the inside and move forward.
So the key for Ehinomen Ehikhamenor is to start putting pressure on Nwamu. Nwamu is in a great comfort zone right now.
That's correct.
He doesn't feel any kind of pressure from Ehikhamenor. Ehikhamenor has refused to work on his jab as a professional. In the first round, he threw 11 jabs, didn't land one. Here's a little pressure now. And that's the end of the... All right. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor and Pat Nwamu, round 6 scheduled for 10. Gus Johnson, Bryan Adams, along with Steve Farhood, ringside from the Manhattan Center in New York City. This for the New York Cruiserweight state title. And let's take a look at the total punches through 5.
Very low landing totals, very low connects, 41 to 39. It suggests that it's a very close fight, and I do think it's a very close fight, Gus.
Tonight's CompuBox stats are brought to you by LocateStock.com, the pioneer in electronic stock locates.
Break. No punching. Step back, guys. Step back. Step back.
See, I wish we could have caught the footwork of those two combatants just now. Hino was on the had his left foot on the outside of Punch and Pat right foot. He moved forward and they got tangled up because Punch and Pat was already moving to exit out of it.
Bad enough Punch and Pat's a southpaw, but he's an awkward southpaw.
That's why you want to keep your foot on inside. You want to keep him cornered. If you keep it on the outside, he has angles to move. So stay on the inside of his foot and move forward.
You're saying Hino's left foot should be in between the 2 feet of...
That's correct.
Punch and Pat. Okay.
Gives him more opportunities to move forward. And either way Punch and Pat move to try to exit, he can punch. He do the straight right hand or left foot. If he keep his foot on the outside, he can only go left foot.
Trouble is, Hino has to want to move forward.
And what you're saying, Brian, is when Punch and Pat's a southpaw, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Because they're switching so much, I'm getting dizzy.
I'm a little confused here.
Yeah. Well, Punch and Pat keep switching. He's a character. He's an actor. He's a screenwriter. And I kind of felt talking to him yesterday that he realized that this fight would determine whether he is going to be an actor and screenwriter the rest of his life, or is he going to be a fighter the rest of his life.
Nwamu has dictated the pace from the very beginning. Is that surprising, gentlemen?
It surprises me because it's a very bad formula for Hino. I just feel that Hino, in all the fights we've seen Hino, I don't think we'd ever call him tentative. He hasn't been that tentative. He's been aggressive, sometimes a little too aggressive. Didn't always use his jab because he was looking for power shots. We haven't seen jabs or power shots tonight.
It was surprising me only because I knew Punch and Pat would be real competitive. Honestly speaking, I thought Hino would, excel in the new training of Noam Lurid. So I'm a little surprised.
Round 7 scheduled for 10. Pat Nwamu in white, Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in black. Nwamu 9-1 with 3 knockouts. Ehikhamenor undefeated 11-0 with 7 KOs. Nwamu's a southpaw, and he has thoroughly confused 24-year-old Ehinomen Ehikhamenor. As you take a look at the punches in the 6th round, Ehikhamenor throwing 33 punches, landing 5. Nwamu 39-4. But so far, guys, on my scorecard, I like Pat Nwamu. He's been more aggressive. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor has sat back a little bit too much.
Well, I got Pat winning only because Hino's not really doing much. Pat is controlling it. Slow pace, but he's controlling it.
And I'll tell you, Hino got great advice from Nir Maloric, his trainer in the corner, who not only told him you have to pick up the pace, but he told him what to do. And so often trainers don't do that. He said, throw the right hand to the body, follow it with the left hook. Hino seems hesitant to commit, as if he's worried about getting hit by a counter left hand.
Watch your foot, Pat.
He's just looking to throw one lead right hand though. Nice jabs by Punching Pat.
And again, when Hino jams back, he doesn't land because Pat's too far away. The pace and the geography of the fight totally controlled by Punching Pat.
I mean, it's simple. If Hino wants to win this fight, he have to change the pace. He have to be busier. Punching Pat is just too comfortable in there.
This is the first time Ehikhamenor has been into the 7th round. His longest fight prior to this, 6 rounds. As a matter of fact, against John Douglas in his last fight in June, he went 6 rounds for a unanimous decision.
One other note about these guys, kind of interesting. These are 2 cruiserweights fighting for the New York State title. They're both Nigerian. And for some reason, in the last 10 years or so, there have been a slew of Nigerian heavyweights. Ika Biabuchi and Duncan Dakawari and Herbie Hyde and
Sam Peter.
Sam Peter, the new hot heavyweight. Nigeria just produces a lot of heavyweights.
That's what you want to see from Ehikhamenor, more aggressiveness. But Nwamu standing right there and weathering the storm.
Hino have to stand his ground a little bit more. I mean, in my opinion, I haven't seen him get shook up yet, so he can't be too concerned about the punching power. But then again, Punching Pat is not hitting me, so.
End of the 7th round. Round 8, scheduled for 10.
Punching Pat corner was telling them rounds 9 and 10 coming up, I think.
A little off on their math, huh?
And take a look at the punches through the 7th round. Both fighters at 22%. Nwamu has thrown more punches, landed more punches. And Nwamu has basically outscored Ehikhamenor on the jab. Pat Nwamu, Steve, has thrown 189 jabs, landed 39 for 21%. Ehikhamenor throwing 109 jabs, only landing 11, 10%.
Yeah, Hino has given up the jab. He's not even trying the jab. But Hino is landing an average of about 7 punches a round, jab or otherwise. And that's just way below any weight division's average. He's got 3 rounds to go. I don't care if it's a draw. I don't care if he loses. He needs to pick up the pace, not only for this fight, but for the rest of his career. Because as Nirmaloric, his trainer, said to him, you're going to regret this in the morning.
Now he is en route to regretting this. Ehikhamenor is such a charismatic young man, obviously with a lot of skill and promise. But right now, Ehikhamenor not aggressive enough.
And I see his manager across the ring, Roger Levin, screaming, Hino, get busy. Hino, throw punches. You cannot let a southpaw get going on the jab. You just can't do it.
There's Nwamu with the straight left hand.
And I'll tell you this, guys. You know, we've been critical of Hino, and rightfully so, but it's not like Punching Pat's doing that much himself. He's not, and if he's winning this fight, he's barely winning some of these rounds. The punch stats certainly reflect that.
The Punching Pat is smart. He knows if he throws 20, 30 punches around, he can win it.
I don't know why Punching Pat would ever switch to right-handed as he's boxing now, because he's doing fine as a southpaw.
And I think, Steve, the reason Pat Nwamu is switching back and forth is because it's totally confusing Ehikhamenor. Just when he gets prepared to fight Nwamu as a southpaw, Nwamu switches it up and he has to redirect his line of thinking.
Right. And his corner's telling him he's thinking too much. He should just be moving his hands. Easier said than done.
No fireworks in round 8.
No punching, guys, no punching.
2 rounds to go.
He's tired. His punches are weak. They're wide. Go orthodox. Fight him orthodox.
All right, here we go once again. Round number 9. Scheduled for 10 for the New York State cruiserweight title. Punching Pat Nwamu in white. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in the black trunks. Jabs in the 8th round. Nwamu throwing 35, landing 10. Ehikhamenor throwing 20, landing 4.
Hey, although it may not be pretty, he's working for Punching Pat.
And also, we have to keep in mind this distance, 10 rounds. You know, Punching Pat had been 6 twice. Hino never 10 either. And they're both, I don't think either one's that tired. They shouldn't be tired.
Right, they haven't done too much to be tired.
Although Punching Pat's mouth is open, and that's always a sign of fatigue. It means he's trying to breathe through his mouth instead of his nose.
But his reflexes are still sharp. He's not slowing up, you know, with his reflexes, so I think he's all right. But as you said 2 rounds ago, Hino just need to go for broke. You know, listen, drop your head. The pretty stuff is not working. Go for broke.
And one of the reasons he's discouraged from doing that is when he does try to step in and land with more than one shot. That's when Punching Pat counters.
I like the strategy of Punching Pat on this evening. He has fought his fight from the beginning. Nwamu has been very relaxed, has managed to confuse the younger Ehikhamenor time and time again.
Hino tried that right to the body, but again, Punching Pat was out of range.
Punches and bunches. He need to do that.
And the crowd starting to get restless here in Manhattan. Pro Ehikhamenor crowd. They want to see him become more aggressive, especially with only a round and a half left.
And you can see Punching Pat really won't let Hino work on the inside because he's draping himself all over him and holding and waiting for the referee.
Smart.
Yeah, he's winning ugly is what he's doing.
There's a beautiful right hand by Ehikhamenor.
No punching, hold hold, Pat. Hold hold. Watch your head.
One shot's not going to win the round, though.
Now it's heating up in the ring. There are going to be times, Brian, where he has to win ugly.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that either. Because in the record book, it's a win. Doesn't say pretty or ugly.
10th and final round for the New York State cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor in black, Pat Nwamu in white. Gentlemen, how do you have this fight scored through 9?
Gus, I have it 5-3, 1 even. 2-point lead for Punching Pat.
Have Punching Pat up by 4 points, actually.
Ehikhamenor has no time to waste.
Let's see if he can build off of that last round, the last 30 seconds of the last round.
Here's the power punches in the 9th round. Ehikhamenor throwing 26, landing 11, 42%.
Now, for the first time in the fight, he had Punching Pat a little uncomfortable in there.
I'll tell you this much, and I know this is hindsight, but if I had a young cruiserweight, I would match him against Punching Pat. He's a tough guy to fight.
I mean, Punching Pat like to call himself the New York mayor.
There's a right hand by Ehikhamenor. Let's see if he can follow it up. Ehikhamenor needs to go for broke right here. And there's the veteran Nwamu tying him up as soon as he gets close. Left hand getting in for Nwamu. That backs up Ehikhamenor.
What is Hino waiting for?
Only he knows. A minute and 15 left.
Punch and Pat starting a movie that he wrote about his own life. He's going to have to do a little rewrite, I think, to include tonight in his story.
He's a minute away from a New York State cruiserweight title.
Tape coming loose on the gloves. Wait for a low, and there it goes.
Time, reach your corner. Time. Put a strings around there.
This fight has about 50 seconds remaining. Pat Nwamu catches a breather.
He spent a little time heckling the crowd there for a minute.
Time in. Break. Step back, guys. Please.
Closing moments of the 10th and final round for the New York State cruiserweight title. Ehinomen Ehikhamenor behind on our scorecards. Punching Pat Nwamu, the older fighter, at 9-1. Looking for the New York State cruiserweight title belt. Nwamu has fought a textbook fight, his kind of awkward fight, and it's been very effective. 10 seconds left.
Gus, I think it's a close last round, and I really do think it's a close fight.
We will see right now. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. But first, a round of applause for two true warriors. Judge Dick Flaherty has it, 99-91. Judge Julie Letterman, 97-93. And Judge Fred Ucci, 96-94 for the winner. And New York State Cruiserweight, Punching Pat Nwamu, the New York City Kid.